So I just saw Thunderbolts, and guys, I think Marvel may really be getting back on track. Hello everyone, and welcome to my review on the most recent Marvel release, Thunderbolts, a movie that follows a whole bunch of the anti-heroes and rejects that we have seen in multiple shows and movies over the last decade or so. You got Arm Boy, Captain Russia, Wisp Woman, Robo Lady, Black Widow 2.0, and Reject America all on one team. And I gotta admit, they make an extremely entertaining team to watch. So I think we can all agree that Marvel has had a dip in quality after the Infinity Saga ended. I'm not saying that it's all been bad. In fact, I'm probably one of the few people that will say that most of it has actually been pretty okay. But that's sort of the problem though. That's all it's really been. Mediocre. We've had some solid projects that I've really enjoyed. I haven't seen every show or movie post Endgame's release, but I've seen most of them and I think I've mostly had a good time with them. But a lot of it hasn't been particularly memorable either. There are some Marvel projects that I'm super excited for, especially the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. But when I saw that Thunderbolts was coming too, I was definitely prepared to skip out on watching it in the movies. I liked Bucky. I hadn't seen Black Widow yet, so I didn't know who Red Guardian, Taskmaster, or Yelena really were, aside from seeing Yelena and Hawkeye. I hated Ghost, and John Walker was just an interesting character to decide to follow. And the worst part was that all of these characters were punchy guys fighting against Sentry, a character that is damn near a god. So yeah, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was fully prepared to wait for its digital release to watch it. But then all the good reviews started coming out. Like, super good. Like, best movie since Endgame good. That sounded like a load of shit to me, but I couldn't deny my intrigue. I mean, come on, there were quite a few really good projects that came after Endgame despite the mediocrity. No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Loki, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and now that I've seen the movie, Black Widow. Was Thunderbolts really gonna top any of those? And honestly, I can't really confirm if it does or not, but if someone made that argument, I would think it was totally fair. This movie was really fucking good, bro. And by the way, minor spoilers. So let's talk about the characters. We start off following Yelena, who I have gotta say I've grown so attached to prior to these movies. And no, it's not because Florence herself is attractive, though that's definitely still true, but because her character has always been so fun to me. In both Black Widow and Hawkeye, I feel like she stole every scene she was in. She just has a specific charm and charisma that I really like alongside a complicated past that haunts her and makes her more interesting to watch. And in Thunderbolts, it doesn't dull even a little bit. She's genuinely my favorite character of the bunch, especially since they really dive into her trauma and depression in this movie, giving me more of a reason to attach to her as a character. Plus, while she fights similar to Natasha Romanoff, it's still really fun to watch her take guys out in hand-to-hand combat. Then you have the Red Guardian. And bro, honestly, how does one not love him? He's such a goofball, loud and obnoxious, and has an extremely bad tendency of not knowing how to read the room. He's genuinely funny too, but simultaneously, I feel like he has so much heart, especially in this movie. He really is a hype man for the team, bringing encouragement to everyone no matter the circumstances, even if it's in a little bit of a ridiculous way. But on top of that, he has a super kind soul that shines out sometimes, especially when it comes to talking to his daughter Yelena. Those two have such an amazing chemistry, and it's just awesome watching the two of them when they're on screen together. We have Ghost, who I already said I hated before this movie. I just feel like she was so underutilized in Ant-Man and the Wasp, a movie I also don't really like. There were like 1,000 villains in that movie, and Ghost was barely even in it besides kinda dying. It really wasn't even satisfying seeing her get saved in that movie because she had such little time on screen. We couldn't even try to connect with her. Now, I won't say that she's particularly memorable in this movie either, I guess, but I felt her impact a little more, and it was nice to see her fight with the team and assist them when they really needed her on multiple occasions. She has a reason to be in this movie, and she also bonds with the gang in a natural way. There's Taskmaster too, which honestly might be my one gripe with this movie. She's completely underutilized. I can't even say much more than that because she literally doesn't do anything in this movie at all. I just kind of have to move on. My boy Bucky is interesting because he begins as a member of the government and becomes a member of the Thunderbolts later due to an awkward situation that comes up. But he is leading his own little spy mission the whole time up till that point, and it's entertaining. He does kind of have the same old Bucky syndrome from the old movies where he isn't as scary as he used to be in terms of combat, but to be fair, he had to deal with fucking Sentry, so I'll give him a break. He does have a really cool scene where he saves everyone on the team though, and while I won't say he's the Captain America of this little team, team, I think he has the potential and he's getting there. The fact that he's like the one guy on the team that has had an arc actually trying to overcome his trauma makes him the perfect leader and motivator for this team. And then we have John Walker, who is just as much of an asshole as you remember him being in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but honestly, he's one of the best parts of the movie. He gets some more depth in this movie, and we learn about why he's mentally in pain and looking for redemption, even if he's still got an annoying attitude and he's still a little dumb sometimes. He goes from being selfish and rude to being a caring team player over the course of the movie. He's still an asshole, sure, but he really becomes a lovable asshole, which is saying a lot considering this is the same guy that chased down and murdered a dude in the street in the last project we saw him in. And finally, Bob. In the beginning of the movie, the Thunderbolts are all sent on separate missions to take each other out in a vault without knowing who each other are, or that this was the reason they were sent there, and Bob just happens to be there. And he's so adorable, I swear. He seems so powerless and scared and has no idea how he got in that vault, but he says that he sort of remembers something really bad happening before he woke up there. And if what happens at the end of the movie is any indication of what he's talking about, bad is a fucking understatement. I feel like I can't say too much about Bob without spoiling the movie, so I'll keep this one short. He fits in pretty well with the team, despite being a confused and powerless guy. He even becomes the sole reason they escape an area because of his act of bravery. I love Bob. I think everyone who saw this movie loves Bob. The villain in this movie is terrifying, by the way. Sentry, like I said, is of godly proportions, basically. Bulletproof, telekinesis, melting things with his mind, and one other power that appears in the movie that I really don't want to say because it leads to one of the best and most unsettling moments in the entire film. Like, genuinely, when it happened, my theater gasped in unison. It was that insane. You'll know what scene I'm talking about as soon as you see it. So one of the biggest strengths of this movie for me is how grounded and serious it feels. Marvel has recently gone off the deep end with relying on spectacles and the multiverse, but this movie is very much not like that. It focuses on all of these completely unrelated characters, aside from Yelena and Red Guardian, who have all been through serious pain and trauma and who have to figure out together how to work through it all while simultaneously trying to learn how to be more than just anti-heroes doing murderous jobs. They all want a sense of fulfillment for one reason or another, and their bond comes from this similarity that they all share. And it really is awesome to watch their development over the movie, individually and together. They literally all start off with the goal of killing their target and leaving, and end up on a sort of a mess of a team focused on saving civilians first and themselves later. And I'm telling you, all of the characters are enjoyable to watch. This movie does such a great job getting you attached to them all, and somehow, and I'm not kidding, watching this team felt just as exciting as watching the original Avengers, which is so crazy to me because I already told you, when I first saw the team in the trailer, I was certain that this would not be good. I also love that this movie reminds us that there really are no Avengers to do any saving in this movie. I tend to forget that they're all pretty much either disbanded or dead. And the movie stresses that these few goofballs are it, the Earth's only hope. And that adds a lot of pressure and tension to the movie because we all know they are not nearly as competent, strong, or connected as the original team, but they have to hold the torch for this movie. And we as audience members are excited to hype them up, but at the same time, we aren't really all that confident either, especially since we saw just how effective, or ineffective, all these people were in their own movies and shows prior to this. So I was just saying that this movie being so grounded felt nice, and it does. This movie is really more about family and dealing with depression more than it is about fighting any actual physical villain. It isn't really a crazy stretch to say that the biggest villain in this entire movie is everyone's own mental demons, and the only way that you could actually win is to conquer them. Everyone has to conquer their own monsters to gain a victory, and we deep dive into everyone's minds and learn what's haunting them, so we really root for them and hope they can figure out how to move past the pain they feel. It's insane too, because the demons seem to manifest in a physical form later in the movie, and that's the scariest thing of all. I won't say much more than that about that idea, but this movie really is about trauma and overcoming the things that haunt you, and the group learns that it's easier to do that when you have other people to hold some of that baggage for you. I love that this movie decided to focus on its main theme first and built the central plot around that idea. It makes things feel more real and less of a punch and beat the bad guy to win movie. Everyone is tied pretty neatly together too. I was a little worried about how they were going to get all of these people that don't know each other into one movie without it being forced, but they do it in a pretty simple way. Everyone aside from Bucky and Bob are mercenaries working for the same big bad woman, which makes total sense given who they are, and they were all sent by her to kill each other. As I said already, Bob just happened to be in the vault vault that they all went to, which sounds silly, but it'll make sense when you watch the movie. And Bucky is trying to expose and take down this big bad woman and ends up in the loop because he learns about the vault situation and some other important things involving that group. The end credit scene also got me hype as hell, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a while since I saw an end credit scene in the Marvel universe that made me excited about future projects, but this one dropped a lot of seeds that should actually grow pretty soon. I've been enjoying these last two phases of the MCU, but it's been a while since I've been excited about it. And one other thing I want to say really fast is that the Thunderbolts little asterisk thing next to the name is actually important for a reason I will not spoil, but it's so cool. So in short, the characters in this movie are fun, especially when they're together. The story is pretty incredible and well done. The villains are cool. The fights are unique despite all of the characters being kind of punchy. And the cinematography is actually pretty good in this movie. It gives off this dark and unsettling vibe the whole time, and it doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie. And I mean that in the best way possible. I love when Marvel movies instead feel like movies with Marvel characters in them. That's when you know the storyline and characters will take priority, and that's exactly what this movie does, and I loved every minute of it. Sure, they do the typical joking thing a bit in this movie, but honestly, anyone that complains about that in this movie is just... I don't agree with them. I think this movie was genuinely funny in places, and only a couple of the jokes were out of place or fell flat. It's a movie full of charm and drama, and I am really happy to say that I can recommend a Marvel movie to people. 9 out of 10.